So after a 2-year comparison, is there a clear winner between Hahnemuhle Protective Spray and Moab Desert Varnish? Let's get to it. Now, last year I made a video between Hahnemuhle and Moab Protective Sprays for inkjet prints. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link below so you can check out the details between the two sprays. It's definitely worth watching. At any rate, after the comparison, I determined that Hahnemuhle was the clear winner. Afterwards, I decided to keep the two prints I'd sprayed a year earlier and just leave them hanging on my photo board for another year. Now, I think it's noteworthy to mention that my photo board has 5 Philip Hue ambient 85-watt equivalent light bulbs. These are warm to cool bulbs, but I keep these at around 6200 Kelvin and about 60 to 75% brightness. I occasionally open the window curtains to let some natural light in. Anyway, these prints have been hanging on this board since my last video. So here we are at last. But before I tell you the results, real quick, if you're not sure what the benefit of the spray is, let me tell you. Many of these fine art prints with pigment inks can last for decades. But these sprays also help resist fingerprints, scuff marks, scratches from handling. But the bottom line is they protect and seal the print. But you can watch my video for more details, and remember the video's linked below. So now that these prints have been hanging around for about 2 years now, here's what I found. I closely examined these prints, comparing the colors and the whites on the borders for yellowing. Bottom line, I can't see any differences in the colors of these prints. They look identical. Truly, let's take a look at these. Under magnification, I closely compared these prints, and honestly, there's no difference in the color. One print is just as good as the other, and I don't think the spray makes any difference, whether it's Hahnemuhle or whether it's Moab. But what does make a difference is the whites here. And there is, in my opinion, a slight yellowing on the Moab compared to the Hahnemuhle. Now, to be objective, and this is hard to do, so basically I had my wife hand me the prints. I really looked hard at these prints, and I think I can see a difference, but it is hard, so you can kind of shuffle these prints around a little bit. But anyway, with kind of covering these up and using these white borders here, I was able to really kind of closely examine it, and 5 out of 5 times I picked Hahnemuhle as the winner. So the Hahnemuhle looked brighter to me than the Moab did. But just to be fair and objective, I had the wife and daughter come into the scene. So I also had them, as I handed them the prints, and I would mix these up at random. And basically both the wife and the daughter, 3 out of 5 times, they picked Hahnemuhle. Now, there's a lot of subjectivity to this, but 3 out of 5, I mean, it is hard to tell. And you could chalk that off as, just being frivolous. But anyway, I think there is a difference between the whites in the Hahnemuhle and the Moab. Truly, I think we all found it difficult you really had to study and look hard. But to my eye anyway, there is a difference in the borders. Now, you could argue that what's the point? I mean, most of us aren't going to display the borders in our prints anyway. We're going to cover up the borders when we put these in a frame. And what really counts is the color. So after 2 years, what's the verdict? Well, to my somewhat trained eye, it's pretty clear. Hahnemuhle is the winner. It has the whitest border. Although my wife and daughter may certainly disagree, they're not used to looking at these papers like I am all the time. But in fairness, there's not that much of a difference. It is hard to tell which border's wider, so I don't think it really matters. But the colors itself, that's what matters most. So with that, I can't tell any difference between the two sprays at all. So now, I think I'll hang these in my garage under varying temperatures and lighting conditions for another year. And we'll revisit this and see what results we get then. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the trail.